Who cares about the national championship rematch?
We've got a lot to talk about today.
Wait, you didn't even want to come back on that national title rematch?
I'm worried about
game days in Cal.
I know. That's what we're talking about. It's the first time ever. Cal Memorial Stadium. You've been to that stadium. It's a great place to watch a game.
It is. I can't wait for the bellows of smoke coming up behind the game day. In all seriousness, sorry, I don't want to. It's not the 70s or 80s anymore. Yeah. Let's just say it will be. The Cal Bears have come out with their own little niche lately on social media, which people have subsequently enjoyed. But Miami, of all teams, the glitzy, glammy Miami Hurricanes, led by Marco Cristobal, are coming into, Berkeley. Sight to see.
I just want to know who's going to be the guest picker. I have someone who's near and dear to me because he grew up in the Bay and he brought you a Super Bowl and he went to Cal. It's got to be Marshawn Lynch, right?
Yes.
Or is he too much of a wild card for Disney?
Well, I think it fits the bill. Like, if you're going to go to Cal, might as well do it right and get Marshawn on. Yeah, Marshawn's got to be the guy. And after the upset, he takes the card around and does that whole thing. But yeah, and seeing that game day is going to be in Cal just speaks to the lightness of this week's game. No?
Cal's 3-1. Miami's undefeated. Miami's got Cam Ward, Heisman Trophy, top 3, top 2 right now?
Sure. Yeah. Those things oscillate every week.
All right. Well, let's get into the show. This is the last of the Voodoo Donuts. Just got back from Portland. Welcome to Big Ben and K-Win on nofilter.net and YouTube. If you're more of an audio podcast, don't worry. Download, listen, subscribe, 5-star us anywhere you get your podcasts. If you're watching this live or on demand, drop your comments below. Today we got a good one. We're going to talk about game day at Cal. Fantasy football, Heisman frontrunners in week 5 in the NFL. I'm K-Win. He's Big Ben, and he will not be going to New York anytime ever to get a Heisman Trophy.
I will not. Travis Hunter. I think of all the dynamic players who've lived up to the bill, it's Travis Hunter. I mean, the guy is an absolute. And it's not as though he's a 6-year senior. You see guys out there this season who are 6-year seniors. You're like, well, the guy's like 24. He should be, above the rest. Travis Hunter is. Listen, if they gave Desmond Howard the Heisman, I don't see how you don't give Travis Hunter. They got to continue to win. They're 4-1 now.
If they gave Charles Woodson the Heisman.
Yes, there you go. Yes, you're exactly
both.
Right.
I mean, Travis Hunter's a hybrid of both.
Well, Travis Hunter plays receiver.
I know.
Right? Charles Woodson, returned 2 punts for a touchdown, and it was like there was this, greatest thing since sliced bread. So you got to look at Travis Hunter as a legit. You mentioned Cam Ward. I think beyond Cam Ward. Listen, the Colorado Buffaloes, their offensive line is putrid.
Yeah. Travis Hunter
is he's the one guy where, you take him away, kind of like Ohtani on the Dodgers. You take him away, that team is nowhere close. They're 2-3 at best.
Our intern gave us some stats this morning. So Travis Hunter is on pace for 100 receptions and over 1,000 yards, in addition to playing lights out defense. Like, he's probably one of the top 5, I guess, defensive backs. I don't know if he's a top 5 wide receiver because you got Jeremiah Smith, you got Ryan Williams, you got a lot of studs, but he's a top 10 wide receiver and a top 5 defensive back. I think he's got to be the front runner for Heisman.
That guy's he's double dipping in NIL money. He's getting top money for the quarterback and top money for the wide receiver. If he goes in, so let me ask you this, Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
Better prospect as a NFL wide receiver or a better prospect as an NFL cornerback?
This is my opinion. I think he's a better prospect as a defensive player.
Why?
Because I value people who have been there and done it before. And I know Travis is a little upset at Richard Sherman. He might be upset at me for saying this, but I think Richard Sherman kind of knows something about receivers and route trees and defense. And I think right now he's better defensively. But here's the thing. I think the team that drafts him, he should be in most packages defensively with the ability to make plays on offense. Like, he's the new generation of Debo, right? Debo's a wide receiver. Sometimes he's in the backfield. Travis, I don't know. They're saying, like, get him in Miami because Miami might be drafting towards the top. In Mike McDaniel's scheme, he'd be dangerous.
He would.
Jet sweep, underneath, down the field. Let him play both.
All right. Yeah, get paid for both, too. Good for him. What else you got in college football?
Before I move on, top 4 candidates go to New York for the Heisman. Right now, It's week 5, week 6. I don't really count week 0.
They've sent 5 in the past, though, right?
Yeah, but I think the last couple years it's been 4.
Okay.
So right now, recency bias, Jalen Monroe's got to go.
Yeah.
Cam Ward.
Yep.
Travis Hunter. Yep. And then I would have to think, as of right now, Tennessee's quarterback, Nico Imaliala.
Wrong.
But
wrong.
I know where you're going, and that's why we're good on this podcast. You know when you're in the airport and you see a name up on the list and they're on standby? That is Ashton Genty. He's on standby right now. He's in Boise waiting for his name to be called. And I think little Cam Ward, he's going to have a tough game in Cal. They've got Louisville in 2 weeks. They've got Duke. He started out fast, throwing touchdowns on USF and Virginia Tech. I think Ashton Genty is going to sneak in.
Yeah. And he killed the Cougs, right? We went into this. The
he
game
killed
plan,
the Ducks.
Yes, he's killing everyone. Like, he did the Heisman pose after a touchdown, and I don't blame him. You know how you get kind of irked when you're like, nah, I don't know, boy or buddy. Like, but Ashton, we game plan for this. I listened to Cougs like, all right, stop the run. All we got to do is stop the run. Give ourselves a chance. Stop the run. First drive, 67-yard TD. Get out. And that speaks to who he is as a player, right? You can do everything. You can put 7, 8 in a box, but the guy is dynamic. Now, could he do it on a bigger stage? That's the question. But what he did to the Cougs with 4 touchdowns and I think over 200 yards. I mean, the Cougs, they bottled up probably another really good Big Ten running back. And I don't know his name, UW's running back.
Yeah.
They bottled him up pretty well, but they got trounced, absolutely trounced. He'll get some more opportunities, but again, players that play, it's similar to college football playoff. They value the competition you play against, right? Mm-hmm. So Gentry playing in the Mountain West this year, we'll see. He is on standby. I like that analogy.
He's on standby. So his stats, again from our intern, he's averaging, I believe, 211 yards a game. He's got 11 touchdowns in 4 games. And I think he's at like 10.3 yards per carry. To your point, put 7, 8 in the box. You know it's coming, but you still can't stop it.
I mean, he's their quarterback's not all that great. Like, he's the reason Boise State's on the map right now. He's the Travis Hunter. Now he's not playing the defensive side of the ball, but you take him out of that Boise State offense, nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So,
well, there's 2 things for Heisman. You have to play on like a top 5 team and be a quarterback or running back to have a shot at the end in December. Or you have to put up stats that are so great that they can't deny you. Like Jaden Daniels, right? Like 2-loss team, but his stats were unreal. So hopefully Travis Hunter, the Buffaloes, Genty, and Boise State can stay in it because both of those 2 players, I believe, should be considered.
I agree with the caveat is they also look at the stats you put up against what competition you're playing against, right? You said top 5 team, SEC, Big Ten, you have no problem. Now the question they ask is if Ashton Gentry was in one of those conferences, would he be the same player? Who knows?
Question. Who knows?
Does the blue turf
transfers and gets NIL money next year in Georgia?
He's only a junior. You can do it. That's
all I got. What do you got?
All right, NFL. Okay, Winn, I got a question for you. Let me go through the division leaders. Excuse me. We got the Bills, Steelers, Texans, Chiefs in the AFC. In the NFC, we have Commanders, Vikings, Bucks, Seahawks. Of those, let's just start with the AFC. Of those 4, Bills, Steelers, Texans, Chiefs, is there any changes come the end of the season?
Yeah. I don't believe in the Steelers. Just like Mike Tomlin doesn't believe in his QB1, he doesn't want to announce his QB1. I don't believe in the Steelers. I think somehow, some way, the Ravens are going to come on top in that division.
Okay.
Now, the others, I mean, this is such a hard thing to do.
You got to forecast. People want forecasts.
Bills will win it. Ravens in the North. I'm going to go shocker here. I'm going to go Colts in the South. I think Texans still make the playoffs as a wild card team. In the West, I mean, the Raiders are going to about to trade their best player. Bo Nix can't throw more than 60 yards. The Chargers will charge her. I mean, yeah, the Chiefs. I like the Commanders.
Hold on. We need to get the NFC. Let's banter on the AFC a little bit.
Okay.
Because the Chiefs are banged, battered. Somehow they're still 4-0. Like, they just get it done in the competition.
We said this 2 weeks ago. The AFC West is like the AL West in baseball. It's just a bad division.
It is. It's not a good division. I mean, the Chargers, Pete Harbaugh's doing the best he can. Lost the last 2 straight. I think you're right with the Steelers. Beneficiary of some bad. But the Texans, they have that point differential of -15 and they're 3-1. So they're winning close games. Yeah. Colts, I don't know about that. Anthony Richards can't figure it out. But, of course.
Flacco.
Jeez, 44-year-old Joe Flacco can still sling it. Somehow. Some way.
The Ashton Genty, you got to say it 8 times. Ashton Genty of the NFL might be Jonathan Taylor, right? Like,
yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's Richardson or Flacco, just give him the damn ball.
I know.
What concerns me about the Texans, I love him, is Mixon.
Yeah. He got injured. He tried to come back. The guy's pretty resilient, but they thought better of it. I think that division's soft cheese. The Jaguars are, I don't know why they anointed Trevor Lawrence just the next. I think it's because he went to Clemson. There's something there where they thought like they could play off that. It's been ugly. Tennessee, Will Levis can't. I mean, he throws he's got more interceptions and completions this year.
Yeah,
it's ugly. I don't see anything changing, to be honest. Outside of maybe Baltimore. Baltimore looks great. I think.
But there's always injuries. There's always things that happen.
There is. Henry goes down all of a sudden. Yes, I agree with you. Let's go to the NFC then. You mentioned the Commanders. I like the Commanders too. Like they've talked about, Jaden Daniels doesn't have anyone beyond Terry McLaurin. They got old Zach Ertz out there running routes.
They got Luke McCaffrey.
Brian Robinson Jr., Austin Eckler's hurt. Yeah, Luke McCaffrey. Luke McCaffrey has more fantasy points than his brother. I do like the Commanders. Whatever they've done to turn it around, Riverboat Ron's gone, but I don't know. Jaden Daniels has got some cojones. And they need another receiver. They're talking about Devontae potentially.
I want him to go there. I don't want Devontae to go to the Jets. I think the Jets are an okay team. Devontae will make them a better team. I still don't think that they have a shot. And I definitely don't want him to go to New Orleans. I want him to go to Washington. Team him up with Jaden. I think that would be great.
Cowboys are kind of meddling. Same with the Eagles. Giants are who we thought they were. Let me talk about, let's go to our guy, Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Leading the Vikings.
Slam and Sammy.
You're big on Sam. Tell me what you see in Sammy this year.
I'm big on him with Kevin O'Connell and the offensive structure. Kevin O'Connell was with the Rams and McVay and Stafford and Cooper Kupp. He can dial it up. He can scheme it up with the best. He's put Darnold in a great position. He wasn't in the best position in Carolina. Look at Bryce Young and Andy Dalton. Or at the Jets. They weren't good before Rodgers. I like him in that system. They're running the ball. They have a great offensive line. They're moving people around with Aaron Jones. They've got the best wide receiver in the game. And Brian Flores on defense. He's scheming up things that Brock Purdy in a postgame was like, I haven't seen this in my 3 years. Like, Flores is a genius on the defensive end. So as long as they have Flores and that offensive line, I think that they will be in this until the end.
Minnesota's a tough place to play. You get down there and like they live for Vikings games, right? You got the Odin and all that stuff, the spiritual stuff going on, the Viking horn, like they got it going. Darnold's not being asked to do too much either. And the nice thing is Jefferson is happy.
Yeah.
You know, he's still getting targets. The offense is still getting him opportunities. And Aaron Jones is a little resurgence. I think Aaron Jones has benefit from playing in a dome.
Oh yeah.
Like he's a guy that's scat, right? Get out on the edges, get out. I mean, he's seen the benefit there. The Lions, God, they got weapons everywhere.
Oh yeah.
That Seahawks Lions game was good. Even though the Seahawks lost, like the feedback is like you can go toe to toe with the Lions. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Dan Campbell's got, you know, they're off. They're on a bye week this week. They got Amon St. Brown throwing touchdown passes, which was pretty cool. I think that's the most interesting division in football.
Yeah. You got Caleb and the Bears. You got the Packers, Jordan Love. That might be the most competitive division, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. And then before we get into the NFC West, but the South, Baker Mayfield. Like,
oh yeah.
I can't think of an analogy for Baker. Just kind of like this old savvy vet who couldn't do it in Cleveland, couldn't do it most anywhere. But yet you get down there and you're just chucking the ball to Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, and life's good.
You know that Malcolm Gladwell book? I don't know what it is, but you need like 1,000 hours to get good at something. I think that is true with quarterbacks, right? Like Baker's been put in this scheme. He was in Cleveland. He was in Carolina. He was in the Rams. Sometimes it just takes people a longer time to see all the defense, see all the schemes, and figure out how they can just stick an environment. And I'm not going to give up on Trevor Lawrence yet. I think maybe he needs a new environment. Maybe he needs a new coach. Maybe he needs a new scheme. But I'm happy for Baker. He was the number one overall draft pick. I forgot about it.
Yeah, everyone forgot about Baker. Like he's being picked up in fantasy leagues. They're like, what's Baker doing? And then you got the Saints have come back to the pack here a little bit. But Andy Dalton, just this past week, putting up points for Carolina. Bryce Young's kind of, what do you do with Bryce?
I don't know.
You let him sit and watch and hope that he takes it in?
I think you've got to keep playing Andy because right now he gives you the best chance to win. But at some point, Carolina's just going to Carolina, and they're going to be out of the playoffs. And at that point in time, it's going to be the back half of the season. I think you have to go back to Bryce to find out what you have.
Yeah.
Either you have him, you're going to trade for him. You might not be able to trade him, or you're going to have to draft a quarterback.
Does he become the Trey Lance of?
It's possible.
What's the difference what do you think the difference is between CJ Stroud and Bryce Young? Where, like, 1-2, what happened with CJ that didn't happen with Bryce?
From what I can see with CJ is his ability to scan all the reads, make a quick decision, and get the ball out. Like the times that I've watched Bryce, he's thrown balls into not the best windows. Like he hasn't made the best decisions. Now, I haven't seen enough of the Panthers game, so I don't know what their offensive schematics and scheme looks like. But
here's the difference I just found. Just some quick research. I think the difference is 4 inches. CJ Stroud's 6'3", Bryce Young is 5'11". I mean, that plays in the NFL. You look at the offensive line. I don't see an offensive lineman under 6'3" these days. It just doesn't happen. And so I think that's a big advantage. And CJ's able to operate out of the shotgun a little more. I think that's been Bryce.
But Houston does have better personnel and a better offensive scheme.
Yeah, you could say that. I don't think Carolina's light. I mean, you saw what Andy Dalton do with Chuba Hubbard and Deontay Johnson this past week. I mean, let's be honest. We'll see. All right, NFC West.
I mean, we don't know what's going on with Christian. We don't know what's going on with Christian McCaffrey. He was in Germany.
To what? Get some
to look at his
legal
Achilles tendonitis. Yeah, well, anything that happens in Germany that's medical is not in the up and up, and it's pretty serious, right? So, like, we're in week 5 with no real timeline, and now he's got like Achilles tendonitis in both legs. Like, it does not look good at all for him returning anytime soon. And then when he returns, what kind of shape will he be in?
Not in very good shape. That's for sure. Like I don't know. Have you broken a leg or a limb?
An
like
arm,
no, that doesn't count. It takes time. To your point, like you can't just run back out there. Like you're hobbled for a good probably 6 months till you're up and going. So I don't see him playing this season. If he's gotten both, you shut him down and just hope. Right, Jordan Mason can piece it together for you and get everyone else healthy other than CMC and hope. Because right now the Seahawks look like, after that Detroit game, look good enough not to pull away, but like get to the point where you got a cushion a little bit, and we'll see. I think it's on the 10th, so a week from today, Seahawks play the Niners in Seattle, which will be very, very telling. I'll be at that game.
No, I think you're right. I think you have to shut him down at some point soon, because if you bring him back in week 8, 9, 10, is he really going to be healthy? Is he going to do more damage this year and then miss time the following year?
I mean, yeah, it's not like you can, drop the guy in on a plane from Germany and have him play in the game. That's just not feasible. So you have to take some kind of ability. And CMC has been a little touchy in the past in terms of durability. So a year off maybe is needed. I don't know. Maybe you can find a running back in free agents or at the trade deadline, but to be seen, I guess. To be seen. What do you got in the way of fantasy football?
The Miami Dolphins personnel, skill players are unstartable.
All of them.
All of them. With the second, third string quarterback until Tua comes back in week 8, unstartable. I've got Achane and Hill on my team. So it's week 5, bench. Week 6, bye. Week 7, probably have to bench again. I got to figure out somehow, some way to win over the next 3 weeks before Tua gets back in week 8.
So your theory is that they're just not going to put up points.
I've started them the last couple of weeks. I'm talking 4 or 5 points each.
They got a rebound, right? There's got to be the rebound effect.
I don't know.
Who's quarterbacking? Is it Ted Boyle yet? It seems like they acquire like 4 different quarterbacks, and Ted Boyle is always the backup. It's like,
it was Tyler Huntley last week. We'll see what it is this week.
Oh, practice squad signings. You should just go say you're on a practice squad. They might sign you as quarterback.
I'd have a good shot at it.
It's feasible. What else is going on in the way of fantasy football? How are we doing?
Quick segue. Seahawks play the Giants. Bring this full circle. We're talking about Heisman Trophy candidates. I'm going to give you 3 quarterbacks that will be coming out this year. Who's the best fit to be the quarterback for the Giants? Because Danny Dimes' time is done. He's on borrowed time.
No, well, go on. Okay, I'll play.
Jalen Moreau from Bama, Shedeur Sanders from Colorado, or Cam Ward from Miami. You are Brian Dable. You're getting down, about to sit down with your GM. Which quarterback are you drafting?
I think Cam Ward's your sure thing. Kind of your guy that is going to produce. The most upside is Sanders. And I think, listen, if it didn't work before where you thought Daniel Jones was kind of this run, pass, play action guy, like you don't want to go down that route again. You want to find a guy that's more of a drop back. I think Cam Ward's more your guy. He is mobile, but yet, you talked about it. He's matured in good systems. He showed he can put the ball up in the air at least. He's been dynamic. I think Cam Ward is probably your sure thing there. And you can't just put another person in with the same assets or the same attributes, right? You got to put someone in that's going to work for your scheme. So you better be sure there. First, figure out what kind of offense you want to run. Like that's the first thing. But Malik Neighbors, here's why Danny Jones might stick around a little bit. Might stick around. You feed that rookie and keep feeding him. There's something to be said for that. Keep him happy. Sometimes receivers have a vote too. So
that's true.
If Danny Jones keeps going in the way he is, and they stop wearing those uniforms they wore in week 1, they might be a little bit better. The Hawks should obliterate the Giants. Yeah. I mean, I see a Malik Neighbors and DK Metcalf jersey swap at the end of the game, but that's going to be the highlight.
Love it. That's all I got.
That's all you got? That's all I got. I'm headed to Great Wolf Lodge tomorrow. It's in Ground Mound, Washington. It's a wonderful indoor water park.
Okay.
You don't have any.
Is this a day trip?
Day trip. Overnight. A little bungalow, lodge suite. It's going to be amazing. What are you getting into this weekend?
Nothing. We've been out of town the last 2 weeks, last 2 weekends. We got baseball playoffs. We got Royals,
Yanks. Ooh,
Tigers, Indians, Pods, Dodgers. We got college football. I'm just going to
relax.
Watch a lot of sports. I'm going to crush live sports this weekend.
Crush live sports. Now, are you gambling yet?
No, I only gamble if I'm in.
I'm getting all kinds of calls from my buddies who are not gamblers or all of a sudden gamblers. They got MOs. They know what they're betting on. They know where they go bet. They know people at the betting.
Is one of them Clay Cuddy?
No, Clay Cuddy's out of that game. Brooke Cuddell calls me. I got an MO. Yeah. Gambling is, if in the world, adoption, right? You call it early adopters,
laggards.
He is beyond laggards. Like he doesn't realize what's going on until it's happened 3,000 times. So now that he's in the game, I'm wary of everyone having a gambling problem now.
It's too accessible. It can get on your phone. We should have developed that app back in New York. The DFS app that FanDuel stole from us. We created that.
We thought of that.
We drafted players.
Ainsworth.
And based on points, you would win.
Yes. Ainsworth.
That was us.
I had that. It was on the back of napkins. It was on the back of napkins. That's always the story. How'd your company get created? On the back of a napkin. We did it.
We'd be taking all of our friends' money.
More than once. And we just didn't do it. Oh, well, story over.
That's why if you have a great idea, you might as well get it out there because someone is going to take it.
At Big Ben KWin _ on Instagram, Threads, TikTok, anywhere you get your social media. Make sure to track us down on YouTube. Comment below. We're releasing some videos. Participate. We'd love to hear from you. At Big Ben KWin on Spotify, Apple iTunes, Amazon. What do they call it? Amazon.
5-star review us. Drop your comments below. Subscribe.
Good luck with your 3:30 meeting.
Yeah, crushing live sports.
Crushing. What do you do so we can crush in live sports? Boom.